Hey everybody, welcome back to Blakeslee Acres. I'm Joe. Um, Today I'm talking about how much it costs to raise the meat chickens that we did this year. Uh, we had two different varieties. We ordered both varieties from Freedom Ranger. The first variety was the regular Freedom Ranger males, is what I ordered. And then the second variety, where they call them the White Rangers, they're more of a Cornish cross type. Um, So I'm just going to go through on the breakdown of what it costs. I'm not, and this isn't including any of the infrastructure costs or anything. This is just what it cost me to buy the chicks, feed the chicks, and some bedding. I didn't factor in what it costs for electricity for the first couple, 2, 3 weeks. Um, just to give you guys a good idea what it costs in my area. This is for my area and what I've spent. Every area is going to be different depending on where you're at and what you're paying for your feed, what you're paying for your chicks. Um, but this will give you a good general idea of the cost to raise these meat birds. Um, Most people suggest that you start out with 25 to 50 chicks, depending on what you need for your family. We are a family of four, so we generally try to save 50 for ourselves. Um, if you eat a lot of chicken, um, more more is better. Just depends on what you and your family consume for chicken. Freedom Ranger males, the regular Freedom Rangers. Last year I tried the color yield, and they only come in straight run, and so do the White Rangers. The Freedom Rangers, you can get male chicks only because they have a market for the female chicks. I do believe that I read out towards New York City. Um, for certain ethnic groups, they like the female chicks. So Freedom Ranger is actually able to offer the male chicks for the same amount of the same amount is the rest. So you can get all females, all males, or straight run. The White Rangers and the color yields, and they've got a few other varieties of meat type chickens that they raise. These are just three that I've used. The regular Freedom Rangers is supposed to be a 12-week grow out, and the color yields, I think they say a week to 2 weeks earlier than that. And the White Rangers are supposed to be an 8 to 10 week window, um, which those numbers are pretty accurate. My goal was to try to process all these birds by 10 weeks. We ended up having to go to, I think, 13 weeks on the large batch. Um, More so, it was just the people that I raised them for help process, and it was just working around everybody's schedule. So I ended up raising them a couple extra weeks, so that affected the numbers pretty decently, I'd say. So the Freedom Ranger males, the more most hatcheries, the more chicks you buy, the better of a deal you get. So the Freedom Ranger, regular Freedom Ranger males for uh, 1 to 24 birds, it was $2.95. 25 to 49 birds was $2.45. 50 to 99 birds was $1.85. 100 to 499 birds was $1.45. These are new recent ones. What we paid was just a touch less than this. This is the new updated prices. I went on a couple days ago and got these prices. This is what their current prices are right now. And 500 plus birds was $1.35. Now, if you're into GMO free, they also have a GMO free option um, for the regular Freedom Ranger chicks. I did not see that on the others, but I also didn't look. I was just trying to get these numbers fairly quickly while I had a few moments. So the GMO free is a little bit more money, but not drastically. But of course, your feed is going to be more. We don't have the customer base right now to justify having the GMO free or organic feed. It would be ideal to go that route, but I can't. If I can't charge more for the birds, it doesn't make sense for me to pay more to feed them and take care of them. So the Freedom Ranger males, I ended up with 100 of those. When I bought them, they were $1.40 a chick. In the White Rangers, that was straight run, I ended up with 50 of those with the extras. I actually got 45, but 50 with the extras that came in. I ended up with my 150 birds total, and those were $1.90 a piece. And then I factored in what it cost me for shipping. I don't have the actual, or yes, I do. It was $65 shipping. They're in PA and I'm in Southern New York. Their shipping's going to go up or down depending on where you're at. So the shipping ended up being an extra 26 cents a chick. So total cost for the Freedom Ranger males per chick was $1.66. Total cost for the White Rangers per chick was $2.16. But because they're fairly close to me, I could drive down and pick them up. I just don't have the time during the week. So the 26 cents, usually the chicks arrive the next day from their ship date. They get here really quick, and I've had great luck with this hatchery because they are close. If you can find a hatchery that's relatively close to your homestead farms and they have good quality chicks, that's going to be your best bet. The less time these birds spend in the mail in shipping, the better. You're going to be able to get them into your brooders, get some water and feed into their systems. They can live, I do believe, 3 days without food and water, but they're also depending on the time of year. The temperatures fluctuate. They're not in temperature controlled trucks and stuff for the most part, so you risk losing birds the longer they're in shipping. I've ordered plenty of birds from other hatcheries that are farther away, and I've had decent luck with them. But so this year I did pretty well with these. I lost. I want to say I lost 10 chicks total, and that was more my error than the hatcheries. I built that new brooder this year, and it's more it by the square footage, it's more than enough to put the 150 birds in there if you're only going to 2 weeks. I had them in there for 3 weeks. It got a little overcrowded, so I lost a few, and I had some issues with tweaking my water system and stuff. But that's on me with having a new system to try to figure out how it functions and the best way to do it. Moving forward, I probably wouldn't do any more than 100 120 birds in that brooder for 2 weeks at a time. I'd like to build a second brooder so I could still do batches, especially if I'm going to build this business up for raising chickens. So I processed 2 different times. I processed at 8 weeks. Most of that batch was the White Rangers, and they averaged probably 4.5 pounds. They definitely could go 9 weeks, 10 weeks if you want a really good sized bird. But they were very healthy. I was very impressed with them. Same thing with the Freedom Rangers. They end up going 13 to 14 weeks. In the price mirrors that. So the first week I used one bag, 100 pound bag of feed. I buy my feed from a local Amish feed supplier. He's not a mill. He buys it from other local mills in our region. He's close to me. It's convenient, and his prices are fairly decent for our area. So the first 2 weeks I went through one bag each, and then the third week was 2 bags. Fourth week was 2 bags, and then I went up to 3 bags a week for the rest of the 8 weeks. And then I processed about 25 birds, and then I went another week on 300 pounds of feed, and then I end up having to up these birds to 400 pounds a week, and that's what I finished them out on. So the birds that were processed by 8 weeks, they went through a total of 12.85 pounds of feed, is what I figured for what I had for the birds. That came out to be $3.60 a feed per bird for 8 weeks. This year, I used 22% grower for all my meat birds straight through. I started them and finished them on it. He was limited on his options this year, and that was $28 a 100-pound bag, which is 28 cents a pound. So all in all, that came out to $5.76 a bird, plus what I used in wood chips, which I figured out to be 15 cents a chick. So $5.91 is what it cost me to raise one of the White Ranger meat birds to about 4.5 pounds. And the Freedom Ranger males, there was a couple white ones that I processed later, and there was a couple Freedom Ranger males that I processed earlier with the first batch. But I'm not going to go through and try to figure out the individual bird numbers for those. Just they were close anyway. So for the next I think it was 5 weeks. Okay, so for the next 5 weeks, we went through another 14 bags of feed. That's 1,400 pounds of feed, and there was 112 birds left after that. So each bird went through another 12.5 pounds of feed, which brought the whole total up for these birds that went out to 13, 14 weeks to 25.35 pounds of feed per bird is what it took. If you look it up, almost everybody says it takes 15 pounds of feed to raise a Cornish cross to 8 weeks. So it took just over 10 extra pounds of feed to raise these birds up to about a 5-pound average weight. So that came out to be $7.09 a bird is what it costs to feed these guys, plus the cost of the chick and cost of the shavings that I factored in. That brings it up to $8.90 a bird. I don't think these numbers are horrible. I really don't. If you're doing this for yourself or for making a profit, it's not bad. In my area right now, people are selling their farm raised pastured poultry for between $3 and $6 a pound. So average that out to be, say, $4.50 a pound for a 5-pound bird. You are looking at $22.50 is what you're going to pay for a whole bird from a local farm, and rightfully so. They need to charge amount to be able to make money at this. Otherwise, it's not worth doing this much work. I didn't figure out my labor time and costs for this. I'd say I probably put in close to 40 minutes a day total, morning and evening, moving, feeding, and watering these birds. So we'll round that down to a half hour a day. 3.5 hours a week. So let's say 3.5 hours a week times 14 weeks. You're looking at 49. So round that up to 50 hours. And I do believe New York State minimum wage, say you're paying yourself just minimum wage, is $14.20, I think, an hour right now. That works out to be another $710. Um, I think we ended up total with 137 birds. We had a couple older ones get killed off by a couple things. We had a fox issue for a while. So that would be it would be about a little bit more, but we'll say for easy math, another $5 per bird if you pay yourself labor. So those chicks that, or the chickens at 8 weeks, that would bring your total cost up to almost $11 a bird. So a 5-pound bird at $3 a pound, you're only making $5 a bird if they're 5 pounds. So I see a lot more people up towards $5 a pound right now. 6 and higher for organic, non-GMO. Like I said, there's enough people in this area that already do that. They have a good customer base of the people that would rather pay more money. I'm in a really rural area, so I have a lot more competition here than I would if I moved out towards New York City and was able to get some more of my products into the cities. It's just not feasible for my scale to be able to transport my products to a larger population area such as Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, New York City. If you have a large population, you can get your products to farmers market or even open up a small storefront in those areas. You're going to make out a lot farther ahead than like I would. And I don't charge nearly as much as I should because I usually raise for family and friends. But I was curious to see exactly how much these birds were costing me and how much money that I am putting into this endeavor. So then there's a factor of if you're processing yourself or if you're taking them somewhere. I know a lot of these people are taking their birds somewhere, and I got some prices from a couple local places that do poultry processing, and they're starting at about $7 a bird for a whole bird processed. That's that adds a lot more to the product. So now you're that $11 per bird, that just went up to $18. And the person that's charging $3 a pound, you're losing money. For a 5-pound bird, you just lost $3 for that bird. So now you get up to the four. That's $20. You made $2, 4.5, $22.50. You made a couple extra bucks. $5. You just made a few more dollars. So people that complain about the farm fresh chicken being expensive, or any farm raised animal being expensive, a lot of times these farmers aren't paying themselves by the hour for these products. They're trying to make a little bit extra than what it costs them to raise them and make a living to keep their utilities paid. So the processing costs, that's a whole bird processed. Now, I didn't get the exact price on what they charge to break the birds down into halves, quarters, or break them down into breast, leg, quarters, and wings. That's what we do. We find that our families utilize the meat a lot more. Most people don't know how to cook a whole chicken nowadays, or nor break them down when they got them home. Then you got different things thought out and trying to figure out dinners around that. So the way we process our birds now, we'll leave some smaller ones whole for like a rotisserie chicken or like a soup or something like that, but we don't do many. And we break them down into boneless, skinless breast, usually leave the leg quarters whole, and we break our wings down to individual wings. Um, so that's going to cost more. You're probably upwards of $10 a bird to have them broke down. So at that point, now you're at, for these ones at 8 weeks, you're at $21 a bird. So the only way you're making profit is if you're charging $4.50 or more a pound for these chickens, if you're having someone else process them. We process all of ours ourselves. I have a small plucker. I bought an actual scalder. It's a small one, 110, but it works for what we do. So the end results on these birds was the ones that were raised out to 14 weeks, $8.90 a bird is what it cost us. The ones raised to 8 weeks, $5.91 a bird is what it cost for the chick, the feed, and a couple bales of shavings. That's not bad. If you're doing this yourself, there is so much available out there for you to learn how to process yourself. And it's worth the experience. If you just can't do it, that's fine, but the reality of it is you're almost doubling the cost of producing that meat for your family or customers, if you're selling it. If it's for your family, you're still making out better than you would buying it direct from a farmer. You're going to save a few dollars per bird, but you got to find a processor that's going to be willing to break them down, or learn how to at least break down the whole chicken yourself when you get them back, if that's what you'd like to do. The biggest thing you got to look at is, I do this for my family because the farm fresh poultry, chickens or turkeys, there's no comparison to store-bought chicken. The flavor, the quality of the meat is so different. The texture, you're gonna, as soon as you try it, almost everyone that's tried farm fresh chicken from us, at least, has been hooked. They want more. So you got to factor that in too. You're getting a way better quality product. You know what you're putting into your own birds. You know what kind of care they are obtaining while you're taking care of them. So you got to weigh your options. I don't know what store-bought prices are anymore. It's been so long since I've even paid attention to store-bought meat. But even if it was a quarter of this price, I'd still just raise them myself. I get why people think that, well, it's cheaper at the store, I'll just keep buying it from there. And that's your choice. This is the choice that I make for my family. If you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. I try to answer everybody that I can. I'm still small enough I can do that. If you guys want a closer breakdown of what this would cost, I didn't do it by the pound. I was more interested in what it cost me per bird, because I knew what I could possibly make off of them versus what I did. And but this was our cost for 2003 raising season. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe, share, and ring the notification bell if you haven't done that already. It's greatly appreciated, and all the viewers that have been with us this far, we appreciate you guys, and I hope to catch you on the next one.